Boom, boom, boom. How's it going? How's it going? Welcome aboard. It is I, TJ, and welcome. It is M5 Successful Friends, and like it is, I bring you out another successful friend of M5. And this guy here, I've been hanging out with him for a minute, and this is actually the 57th time of me inviting him onto this podcast and telling me that he's busy. Wow, wow, wow. So this guy's a busy guy, and it is my great privilege, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome Witness Mdaka. Mr. Witness, how's it going? Welcome aboard.
Hi, TJ. Thank you so much. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks, man. It is great to have you around, and we're still back here. And Witness, I just want to start off by thanking you actually to avail yourself. I know that you're a busy guy. You are the man who is leading Quality Growth International, and you are busy in the property space, and same like me. So, we've literally been playing in the same space. But Witness, who is Witness, and where are you from?
All right. I was born in Kiani, so in Limpopo, but I was raised in Tembisa, right? And I live in Johannesburg. Who is Witness? Witness is an individual who is in touch with himself, constantly trying to learn and improve himself at every cost. I think that's who I am. That's the first part of description I can put to my name, right? I'm a property investor. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a husband. I'm a father, and I'm a friend. That's who I am.
Good. I always say people always have a perception of certain things around other people or the society. And, I've been snapped before when I said, I'm a property investor and I do property and I'm an entrepreneur. And someone says to me, but you're a skinny guy for a property entrepreneur. And I said, what do I need to show? Do I have to grow a little bit more beard? And there you are. You're very much like me. So I'm just wondering here.
So I go through that a lot as well. In fact, I told a story a few days ago about the day when I visited one of our properties and I met one of the tenants.
Right.
And while chatting, he said to me, "So which unit do you live in?" Right? So basically to him, I don't even look like I'm a landlord. He didn't even know who I was.
Yeah.
So because people have expectations of people in property to look like, I guess in our Black community, you have to have a big tummy, have a beard, which I don't have, and look a certain way. But I remember one of our other employees when she joined the company, she actually met me by the corridors and said and greeted me and said she was looking for Witness.
Yes.
So I said to her, "No, he's in the office somewhere. Just knock and tell the others that you're looking for him." So when I came back, she's like, "Oh wow, so you are Witness. Wow, dynamite comes in small packages." I guess she was expecting something else.
Yeah. But that's good to hear. And the reason why I brought this up with you is that, I've connected with you personally, and I know your journeys and I know where you are. And I know that you're just a humble person. And that's one thing that I respect about you. Even though I know that financially you've built so much for a younger person of your age, especially in the societies where we're living in today, where people are all around, show us what you've got, for us to see that you have arrived or you've got money or you're financially stable. And yet your lifestyle is the other way around, And I'm always thinking like, no, if I get to Witness's level, they're going to feel me. I'm going to be in the V12.
Yeah.
But what keeps you grounded like that, Witness?
I think it's exposure.
Okay.
TJ, like you said, I'm exposed to you you are humble yourself, and you've done very well, probably even better than I have, right? In more ways than one. So when you meet people like that, I've got mentors as well that are doing extremely well, black and white, right? Guys that are very, very wealthy. But when you look at how they conduct themselves, you'd probably be ashamed if you're one of those who've got pride and you're sitting next to those type of people that are grounded and have much more than you do.
Yeah.
You have no choice but to be grounded. But apart from that, I think it also goes back to the vision that I have of myself, right?
Sure.
So where I am now, for me, is just the beginning. It's more like a seed, right? To build bigger and better, right? So, but if I start having the mindset to consume it and to feel like I've arrived, then I won't reach my destination of where I see myself going, right? Because I'll be spending everything and feeling like I've arrived. So there'd be no need for me to work harder to get to the vision that I see of myself. So maybe that's what keeps me grounded more than, in addition to being exposed, right, to other successful people that are far more successful. I think that helps as well.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to zoom in for the fact that I know that you've been in the game for slightly longer than me, and you've been at it in Tembisa for a while, and I think potentially, I was saying that to someone else. I think Witness is just short of owning a whole street in Tembisa, because he's just had so many properties in Tembisa going. But you've moved away from Tembisa, investing in the township, and you've moved into other areas, affluent areas, and you're also now moved into commercial space and things like that. I just want us to quickly talk about that journey of you investing from the township and being exposed to other areas. Why have you progressed that way?
Yeah. So I'll tell you how I started in Tembisa specifically.
Sure.
So in the year 2007, 2008, well, I did say I grew up in Tembisa. So in the year 2007, 2008, my mother discovered that she had overpaid her bond by over 150,000 rands, and she was not aware of it. So the bank made her aware, sent some consultants to help her access the money. So when she got that money, she used it to build back rooms at the same yard in our house in Tembisa.
Okay.
And I remember when the first tenant came, his name was Julius Godogwan. My mother said to Julius, the money that you have with you right now to pay rent, give it to my son. So I was sitting next to my younger brother then. So I was the eldest. So Julius said to give the money to me. I must have been 18.
How old were you at that stage?
Yeah, so I was 18, turning 19.
Okay.
And I received the rental from Julius for the first time.
Landlord.
And yeah, I was a landlord then. And then I started collecting rental from every other tenant because she had built 6 bedrooms and a garage. And all of them we had rented out as living spaces for people, right? So at that age, I had people who were way older than me that were now paying me rental, right?
Okay.
To cut a long story short, then eventually my mother got sick and she couldn't even look after the business spaces. So I was forced to look after the business. And she had told me that if I want to finish varsity, I have to use part of that money I get from rentals to pay for my school fees, and she'll just be assisting, right?
Okay.
So that's where my journey in the property space in Tembisa started, right? So we don't own a whole lot of streets in Tembisa, but we do have quite a lot of tenants that we have there.
Sure.
We've got 70 or so tenants there, right? So that obviously split over a couple of properties, right?
Yeah.
So that has been where we built the foundation, basically.
Good. Yeah. Well done on that. I mean, managing 70 tenants, it's not easy.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then we moved to other areas, and the reason was simple. When I started being serious about investing in property, especially in the township, was when I got married and we went on honeymoon with my wife in Cape Town,
Right.
and we stayed in a studio apartment, a really nice studio apartment. So I thought, okay, I provide back rooms to people. Why can't I give them studio apartment type of bedrooms? Why can't the bedroom have a kitchen, a shower? And back then it was not the usual thing for a bedroom to have its own kitchen, have its own shower and toilet, and have some dining room space, if we may put it, right?
Sure.
It was not normal then. But when I came back from the honeymoon, that was my vision then, to say, whenever we make rooms, this is what we're going to be doing from now on.
Dude, but
Um,
you're supposed to be on honeymoon and your mind is thinking about business. What the hell?
I think yeah, it sounds weird, but when you're on honeymoon, you're indoors most of the time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
For
yeah,
obvious reasons.
yeah, yeah,
So when you're done doing whatever you were doing, you start to
yeah,
think about things. You're in Cape Town, you're in studio apartment, so there are high-rise buildings all over. You go to the balcony and think a bit. So, but I was just amazed at what I saw in terms of how that studio apartment was set up.
sure.
It was in a hotel, but it was a studio.
Yeah,
What I saw there was, if if my wife could be cooking there and I'm sleeping on a bed here,
yeah,
it's the same thing my guys in the room are going through. But if we make it nicer, if we give it some sort of dignity,
yeah,
people don't have to bath in a dish and go throw the water outside. People
sure.
don't go have to leave their rooms to go to the toilet. They can
Yeah,
have the same thing that a guy in a studio apartment in Cape Town has. Right. So
yeah.
that's why I had to be thinking about that.
Now that's a good idea there, right? Um, but in our latest conversations, where we've touched base, I mean, your offices alone, you guys operate from Midrand, where kind of like you guys have the whole complex to yourselves, and that's a taste of commercial that you've now started in. But if I look at where you've created your foundation now, um, I could say, well, it's working being in the township, and you're providing proper accommodation that people like and want, and you're making bucks there. So why don't you stay there?
Yeah.
Why have you moved to a different area of for investment purposes, like the commercial piece? That's a different animal altogether.
Yeah. So with the commercial, it was a lot easier for us then, because we could tap into other partnerships, right? So people that have done it before. So the guys that we work with our commercial office partner now, it's one of my mentors. So he's been in the game much longer, you see. So it's easy then to tap into the knowledge that he has and learn from him, and also run the commercial, the property, and manage it on his behalf as well. But what I can say as well was that moving from the township was purely a business decision in this sense. When we met the last time, I had told you of other areas that we are investing in a similar manner. But
Sure.
now the difference is that the properties are a lot bigger,
Hmm.
uh, so we get to get a lot more units out of them, and we get to provide parking. We get to rezone them in a proper manner. We get to do business in a manner that's more sustainable, right? Although the township part of the business is also sustainable, so it's just making the properties a lot more. Let's just say they get a lot more value. So we've got a lot more value in other areas, whereas in the township it's a cash flow type of investment, right?
Okay.
So the property is there. You're probably spending the same amount of money you are spending in other areas that are more affluent. But the difference is that the other areas hold a lot more value than the townships. So
So
it's more of
you saying that from, if we look at it nicely, you saying investing in the township is more around your cash flow, but in the areas now where you're investing, it's cash flow plus appreciation as well.
absolutely, So cash flow plus appreciation,
Yeah.
and the fact that a lot of people are buying cars now. So in the townships, most of the properties don't have parking space.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's a lot easier in other areas for people to be able to park their cars, because you want to give people an experience. You don't want people to be waking each other up every morning when they have to go to work because you've parked them in,
Yeah.
right? So in other areas, each unit has got its own parking space.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, which is what fascinates me, right? So to be able to provide that kind of value to people
Yeah.
without spending a lot more.
I like that because, you're talking of, providing accommodation, but not just brick and mortar, but you're now also providing an experience, as you just called it. And I think a
Yeah,
lot of us who are landlords, that's the one thing that we forget, because the more you're going to add value onto your property, so for instance, in predominantly in our student accommodation spaces, we throw in quite a lot, value adds, like Wi-Fi, laundry, sometimes even breakfast,
yeah,
but again, it's an experience, as you've just mentioned it. So they're not going to forget me on the experience that they've received on that property. And thanks,
correct. Yeah,
thanks on that feedback. But what I want to zoom into, Witness, is that you grew up in Tembisa, and you grew up with your mom, together with your siblings, and there you are, you're a businessman, right? Um, and,
sure.
and today you're a businessman in your own right. You're married to a beautiful wife who's a doctor in her own right, and she's now practicing. She practices now on her own. The last time I checked, she's venturing out in her own business, where you are also supporting her. And I just want to come back to the thinking of why did you move into the space of business rather than what was presented to us when we were growing up? Get good grades, go to school, and get a job, and in that job, excel. And there you
Yeah.
are, the two of you, husband and wife, you're just going against the grain. Why?
That's a good question. So the reason I'm laughing, I'm thinking about why, right? So I've always wanted to be rich. That's the first thing is that I've always dreamt of living a life that not many people can afford. And
Sure.
when I started to research, I realized that the people that are living the life that I want, most of them are business people, right? They own some sort of business. So they're doing
Right.
some sort of business. So I thought, okay, so I might as well acquaint myself with what business is all about. That was when I was younger. Uh, and I'll tell you now, even though I had the back rooms then, I had not seen them as a business until one of my friends, we were going to Pretoria to register our recycling company, right? When we were 19.
Okay.
And he took out a book and gave it to me. We were inside the train. And that book was Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Okay.
And I was seeing the book for the first time, of course. I didn't know what Rich Dad Poor Dad is. I actually thought what a weird title when I saw the book.
Yeah.
But I sat down and read almost half of the book on the train to Pretoria because the train got stuck somewhere in Centurion.
Okay.
So I sat reading that book and my mindset was changed forever.
And this is not the
Uh,
how train that we're talking about, right? We're talking the
no, this
old
is
train.
Metro Rail. No, not the how train. Right?
Yeah.
I don't think the how train had existed yet at that time. It was still
Yeah.
in construction.
Sure. Sure.
Right? Then my mindset was changed forever. So I started to see it. I started to see the light, um, and I had wanted now to build a business for myself. And one day I had a conversation with one of my early mentors. Right, he's young too, but he was very successful at a very young age.
Okay.
His name is Musa. Right, So while we were sitting, he said to me, he told me about his father. He said, Witness, my father has been working for Transnet for the past 30 years,
Right.
but I can never replace my father at Transnet. I can never inherit his job,
Sure.
right? But my kids are going to inherit the businesses that I've built. And I was like, boom. Now that's a light bulb moment, right?
That's
So
deep.
the same story, I told it to my wife. I said to my wife when we met, well, when she was starting work, I said to her, you're a doctor, right? And you're very committed. My wife was not a business-minded person. She was focused on working. So she was sold on the same idea. Go to school, get good grades. Since she's a doctor, I think she got lots of good grades
Yeah.
and get a job, right? So that was the mindset. But I told her the story that your kids will never ever be able to inherit the job as a doctor. Doesn't matter how many years you work in it, but your kids can inherit a business if you build it.
Man,
So that was my dream.
that's deep. Yeah, that's deep. I think that's a very strong why you guys are pushing it that way. So respect to you there.
Yeah.
So Witness, you are no you are not any different, men, different to me, and to many other guys that are out there. Number one, you're married. Number two, you've got kids, and three, you've got a business, right? How do you balance the three? Because they are all demanding without us putting you as the fourth person into it. You've got your own needs as well. How do you balance?
So I've only, let's just say, I've only worked for somebody else a year or so of my life, right?
Okay.
And I can tell you that was the busiest I was then than I am now, for the pure reasons that now I've got a team around me. So a whole lot of things that I could have been doing by myself, I've got other people that are doing it for me, right?
Okay.
So since I'm in property, I can go watch my son swim during the day at school. I can spend time with my kids during the day, take them for extramural activities. And later on, I can give my wife undivided attention because I've been able to spend time with the kids, and the business must have been running at the time, right? At night, I've got the liberty to work at night as well, right? So there's that sort of the balance that we've created. But the main thing I can say is that having a team around me that believes in what we are doing as a business, right? That believes in the vision, from our plumbers, our electricians. Those are the people that actually manage my life on my behalf, right?
Sure.
As we speak now, I know if there's a challenge somewhere with a tenant, that call will probably not even get to me. Somebody else is going to receive the call and fix it.
That's power.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's my day to day, and that allows me then to start planning my time properly. When do we meet? When do I meet people that are assisting me in the business? When do I spend time with the employees? When do I spend time with my wife?
Sure.
When do we go for date nights? So I apply leverage, if I may put it like that. Leverage is power.
Leverage, yeah, that's it. Leverage is power. But when then do you actually then connect? So for instance, we talk about some of, let's take an example. One or two of your units are down for whatever reasons. There's some problems there. In that call, we say that doesn't come through to you because you are not you're self-managing, but you've got a team of people that assist you in that regard. So when do you know of that problem, if you ever do?
Yeah. So for example, let's say I might not know about it today, but I've got a meeting with my business manager every Monday.
Sure.
So every Monday she'll give me the report of the entire week and what happened, right?
Yeah.
And then on Friday we've got the meeting with the entire team.
Yeah.
So basically anything I hear on Friday is probably not new. So I must have heard on Monday, and anything I hear on Monday not that new. I've probably heard about it on Friday. But in any case, right, there are some things that maybe they might need my immediate attention. There are those that do not, depending on the severity of the matter,
Yeah.
right? So, for instance, if a property, an entire property doesn't have electricity at all, right, and they've tried everything they could, then they let me know so that I'm aware of what's going on, so
Sure.
that I can advise there and there. But if it's just a small thing like toilets are leaking, or there's not enough parking and things like that, there are people that are going to sort that out. I don't have to know about it.
So in your team, right, what I'm hearing here is that you actually have people that are competent, enabled, willing, and can execute the job. You know,
For sure. Yeah.
that's what you've built around you to be able to help you. And that was it's freed up your time to do whatever you want whilst the business is running.
Yes. Yes. So I've run a construction business before.
Yeah.
So when we started early on, about 5, 6 years ago, a lot of what we did was construction. We used to build houses. So the guys that were my team leaders then
Yeah.
are still part of the business,
Okay.
right? So I've had my electrician for the past 6 years.
Yeah.
I've had my plumber for the past 6 years. I've had my builder for the past 6, 7 years.
Good.
So the relationship that we have with the team, right? So even if I'm not there, those guys basically give themselves towards the business based on the relationship that they have with me, right? So it doesn't matter who's the manager there.
Yeah.
If these guys know that they're not really doing it for the person they're reporting to, they're doing it for the business, and they're proud to work with that business. That's what has helped me, right? Building that team and having that relationship with the team.
You speak of one of the challenges that actually most of us face, and you seem to have gotten it right. Having contractors that actually just believe in what you're doing and sticking with you for a while. I have gone the route of I found someone that I like working with, and that's Hubert. And his skill in terms of renovations and construction is much deeper than my skill. My skill is kind of like 0%. And
Yeah.
and he comes in, and we have such a good understanding between the three of us there. I mean, between the two of us, and holistically as the team that I've now built. And we can literally acquire a building, and I just don't have to be there to do anything. If I have to be there, I'm showing face, right? But Hubert can execute that project solely without me, from the beginning to the end until we even put in tenants, and I'm not involved there. And that's a very difficult position to get to. And I'm glad that, you know, I've been with Hubert now for a year and a half or so, but you've been with your team for much longer. And I mean, that I applaud with you, because when Hubert came on board, it felt like there was a big chip here that fell off.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know what you mean exactly.
Yeah, but I want to speak to the point of this journey that you're on, Witness. You're saying that you've just started. You've got 70 units that you've got in Tembisa alone, right? And you're running another business where you're also managing properties for other people, right?
Yeah.
So if I look at your portfolio alone, I mean, if you're at liberty to talk about it, if I look at your portfolio alone, how big is your portfolio? And you're saying that you're just starting off.
So on the residential side, we've got about 120 tenants.
Sure.
Or so, right? And then on the commercial side, we've got about 50, 60 tenants.
Right.
That we have. So it's around about 180 or so. But that doesn't mean I must go buy a Porsche.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's not like me. Like I said, that's the foundation,
Right.
right? It's a springboard to other things that I've always been dreaming of doing, right? Like I said to you now, we've just bought my wife her own medical center slash practice that we could help grow into something bigger and better,
Yes.
right?
Well done on that.
And
Yeah.
thank you. And the only way we could do that is when we have the resources to do so, right? So if the resources are spent recklessly on things that I don't even need, then I can't take advantage of opportunities that could potentially create a lot more wealth for other people as well, right? Because the employees depend on us doing business well.
Yeah.
They
I hear you.
are,
Yeah.
and our tenants depend on us creating the living spaces that would be comfortable for them to live in. So we're solving a much bigger problem than just our financial positions. Because if I'm a young person, I'm 21, I earn about 8,000. I've just started a job,
Yeah.
and all I could afford is a room worth 3,000,
Yeah.
right? And there is one for 3,000, and it's got everything I need.
Yeah.
This person providing that living space has just saved me money, because maybe I could have been paying 6,000-7,000 rents elsewhere.
Yeah.
For probably the same thing, So maybe it's the mindset behind it to say the reason why I think I'm just starting. Well, I don't think it's that big yet. That's the thing, right?
So you still have capacity. There's capacity to grow.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more capacity to grow. We can reach 1,000 units, and we can do 10,000, right? Why not? We could build slightly more bigger partnerships.
I like that. I like that.
We could find ways to invest in other areas that we haven't tapped in before.
I mean, for instance, Giyani, right now it's one of the growing towns. If we were to look at Limpopo.
Where is that?
In Giyani.
Oh, Giyani. Okay, you said Giyani.
Yeah.
That's my hometown. I was born there, but I've never been there again.
Well, you need to be looking at what are some of the other smaller towns that are growing. That's one of my other fascinations these days, because
Yeah.
when you're in the housing space, and I think this is where the problem, our biggest problem, is startups. You're only looking at where we are, and I am proud that I have fallen off that thinking, because I now invest in Cape Town, in Durban, and in Pretoria. So I'm not just in the area where I am. But what I've also realized is that if you look at the trends, and there's a whole lot of reports that are available now that can give us trends of potentially where is business or where is residential going to boom off. And in my view, a person like you who has had the pleasures of having a skill of construction and you know how to manage, look, if Tabazimbi is the one that's booming, I am going to buy that land. I'm going to start my construction again. I already know the systems, and I can place them there. Potentially, I can be buying less on the land. Potentially, I can be building less on the land, but I'm renting at a high, so I'm making good money. That's my recent fascination there. But I want us to go through into another topic here, and this topic is we normally call it the deal space. Is there a particular deal that you'd like to kind of like walk us through and tell us how did you buy it, what did you do with it, and how is it doing now?
Yeah. So I won't mention an area,
sure.
But there's a deal I did, man, a few years ago. I think must have been 2016, right? So we bought that property, but we didn't have the money to redevelop it. So we financed it through the bank. And what I did is I went back to the seller and borrowed part of the sale money from her, and she gave it to me. And
good joke.
I promise
you paid him the money, and you went back to the seller and you said, can I borrow can I borrow what I've given you?
Yes. Yeah. So
Okay.
so the bank paid the seller the money, and I thought, okay, we need to redevelop the units. We needed to put 12 units there. There were 3 existing units. I went to the owner, well, the seller, and told her what I'm going to do exactly with the property, and I borrowed money from her,
Yeah.
250,000, but she gave me 100.
Okay.
Which I paid back to her over 2 years with interest that was stipulated,
Sure.
right? And then I went to a friend's mother who had just retired,
Yeah.
and she gave me 250,000,
Right.
and I have been paying her 7,500 for the past 48 for the past 4 years basically. So
Sure.
the deal is ending at the end of December, right? And we get to keep the property. They make their profit. They had monthly cash flow.
Sure.
So that deal, because I was younger, I think I applaud my boldness out of that, to say you don't have the money, but what can you do? You can think outside the box. I thought, okay, the owner has money. I can talk to her.
Right.
Maybe she might give me, maybe she might not, but she gave me the story that she gave me.
Witness, I just want us to pause that thinking there, right? And you
Yeah,
said you had to think outside the box. And this is a life deal that you did. It's real. You did it, right?
yeah,
The question I want to ask you is that, number one, you spoke of the fact that you were raised in Tembisa, and your only exposure to property was that your mother allowing you to be the man in the house at
yeah.
at a young age, and she said you are now the landlord. That's what she said to you indirectly.
Indirectly, yeah.
And indirectly, she was actually saying, grow up and look after this business. That's what she was giving you.
For
And
sure.
and out of that, you read a book, right? And out of
Yeah.
it, I just want to understand at what point and what happened for you to become clever and now understanding the fact that you can go and borrow money from there, and you can borrow money from there, and you can come to make it work, and I can potentially give you a cash flow. Where did this all come from? Because some ordinary guy who's sitting at home right now will be thinking, that's difficult. How did you do that? And
Yeah.
there you are, you're doing it, right? And my question to you is, where did this come from? How did you get the knowledge, number one, and what gave you the I want to use the word tenacity, the courage to do it? Because a lot of us, we have the information, but we just don't have the courage to do it.
For sure, for sure. I think, you're reminding me of a phone call that I had today with another mentor who used to come to our church he used to come there to do business seminars, basically, to teach us
Okay.
business.
Right.
And we developed a relationship. So he's known me for years before I even got married. He was the MC at my wedding. So someone who's very successful, but we have that relationship now. And what he said to me was that he said to me, the thing about you is that you embrace exposure.
Right.
Right. So I didn't have the know-how growing up, but I've embraced people that have got the exposure. So when I get exposed to something, I saw you once, but all of a sudden I'm exposed to you. I
Sure.
get in touch with you. I ask you questions. TJ, what do you think? TJ, there's this money I need to raise. What are your thoughts? What can I do?
Yeah.
So I think I've allowed myself to learn from the other people that know better than I do, right? But specifically when I did the deal, it was a matter of I knew those people had some sort of confidence in me.
Right.
So when I bought the property from the owner, I knew her, someone I knew personally, right? But I found out through an agent that her property is for sale.
Okay.
Right? And what happened is that when we put the offer down, the bank, we gave her a full offer because I had already calculated that I was going to make a lot more money from the property. So I
Right.
was okay to give her a full offer, right? And the bank came back and said, no, we can finance this property at 100,000 rands less because
Okay.
of the value of the property.
Okay.
And I said to the agent, no, it's fine, let's proceed with the deal. I'm happy to pay in the 100,000 rands that's outstanding to do the deal.
Yeah.
And we did that. So and the owner knew that I did that.
Sure.
She knew that I had bought the property, even though the bank had evaluated it at a lesser amount.
So you had already bought in some emotional equity. That's what I call
A
it.
lot of emotional equity.
Okay.
So when I went back to her, right, she already knew my intentions were not vile. She already knew I had good intentions about her property.
Yes.
And she already knew that I'm not trying to rob her.
Sure. Sure.
So if there was anyone who believed in me, it was her.
Come on. Yeah.
Right. So that's why I actually invited her on to have lunch with me at Mug and Bean at the time, you know.
Yeah.
And we said we had a chat, and I told her exactly what I wanted to do.
You were
And
transparent.
she said to me, she said, I'll think about it and get back to you on Monday. She
Sure.
thought about it and got back to me on Monday. When the property was registered in my name, she gave me the money.
That's a very powerful way of fundraising. So you give the owner what they are looking for. At the back of that, you go and borrow that money back again to do what you're trying to do on your property.
Yeah.
The property then extracts. So the money now that's sitting in the property starts working for you. So actually, in actual fact, you are the conduit, but you're actually not borrowing anything here.
Yeah, I see what you mean, because the 100 is already overpaid into the property. It can be refinanced later, like you taught me.
And that's it, right? So all you have done is you've created a system where the money has circulated and it has created value, but at the end of the day, you are still sitting with the asset.
Correct, yeah, for
Right?
sure, for sure.
And the
I've
money has
long
now
paid her.
worked a full circle for you, and out of it, you walk out clean. She's
Yeah.
happy, you are happy, the estate agent is happy, the bank is happy, everybody is happy.
Yeah. So that's why I say that deal actually is one of my, it's most fascinating, because at a young age, I must have been 25, yeah, 25, 26. And I thought of it, and I had the courage to do it. And maybe it's because I believed in the fact that I would be able to pay her back. Maybe that's
No,
another thing.
I don't
So,
think you believed that you'll be able to pay her back. You had confidence on the project, that
yeah,
your numbers was good. So you had confidence in your project. And the project gave you that confidence, and you went to ask for it because the project could carry itself.
yes, yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. So at the end of the day, the project could pay the bank, it
Yeah.
could pay her and the other lady, and I would get a little bit of cash flow out of it as well. Her 2 years was done, cash flow coming to me. This one is ending at the end of the year for that property. I've been paying her, she's happy. She's even recommending people to come to speak to me if they want to invest.
Come on. I am fascinated. This is a cool deal. Well done on that deal. It
Thank you.
Yeah, it kind of like blows my mind. I've never thought of it that way. Yeah, it's awesome. I like it. Well done. High five. You're making me
Yeah,
excited
thank
right
you.
now.
I can see the excitement.
Yeah, it is really freaking awesome. Like, who does that? Witness. Well done. Well done.
Yeah,
Witness, anyone else who's sitting anywhere else right now, they're probably sitting maybe in a township somewhere. They are stuck in life, not even in a township, somewhere else, and they are thinking property and they're wanting to do it. They just don't know how. And there you are. What 3 advice can we give them?
what 3 advice? So are they working or not working?
I don't know.
Okay, let's assume that they're starting from zero. They don't
Yeah,
have a job, they don't have an income,
yeah.
right? So and they're thinking property,
They're thinking
right?
property.
I'll tell them what other guys have done in Tembisa,
Sure.
right? I know guys that started from zero, right,
Okay.
with no property. But you know what those guys did?
Yeah.
They would come to me when I started out, right? They would say to me, Witness, I can find you tenants for your units,
Okay.
right? But you're not going to pay me anything. I just want you to make sure that you always have units for me to advertise. What
Right.
I'm going to do, I'm going to get tenants for you, and the tenants are going to go pay the administration fee to me.
Okay. It's a once
So
off.
yeah, once off.
Okay.
So the
So
tenants pay. I'm happy because I've got a tenant. The tenants are happy because they've got a place to stay. The
sure.
guy is happy because he just collected maybe 650 from a tenant that he's seeing for the first time. If he's got 100 tenants there, he's got about 65 grand a month. He doesn't own property, but he's in property,
Sure.
right?
I like that.
So
Yeah.
that's a guy that thought outside the box, right? I'm happy to pay a guy like that because he takes away the job from me. He takes away the job from my team. In fact, he forms a huge part of my team
Okay.
at
Right.
no cost to us.
Yeah, but so that kind of like works because you have an estate agent um, business, right? So they're kind of like working for you. So they're your ground people. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but
No, it's guys. Let me tell you, TJ. It's guys that actually run their agencies now.
oh really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's guys that started by saying we don't work for you. We provide a service to you,
Yes.
and they don't do it for me only. They do it for a whole lot of landlords.
So then all of a sudden they've got a pool now of tenants on their database, and they're making money. They're printing money all the time.
Exactly, and they don't have the cost of buying a property. They don't have the cost of building. They don't have the
Yes.
cost of paying salaries.
Yes. Yes.
They
That's
just
deep. I like that.
they're just putting in the work.
So it's that whole idea, right, that we spoke about the one day around ownership and control. You know,
Fantastic. Yes.
it's in the same concept. You know, you own nothing, you control everything. You know,
Exactly.
yeah, I like that.
Exactly. So I think if someone is sitting, they're stuck, they want to do that. It's one of the easiest way to get your foot in the door, right?
Sure.
So the same guys, if they want to get involved in some of my deals because they've saved up money, like I said to you, someone will give me 100,000. They get paid 5 grand a month for the next 3 years, whatever the years are.
Yeah,
This person has got cash flow from a property they've never had to work for.
they're
They
silent.
don't look after tenants, they don't do anything, they're just getting paid. But
Yeah.
what are they getting paid from? They're getting paid from a property.
Yes, yes.
Do they own property? No.
No.
Do they speak to tenants? No.
Yeah.
Do they get paid? Definitely. Right? So it's just a matter of looking at it in a way that would benefit you, but taking the easy route to get your foot in the door. And you've shared the other time about finding deals before other people find them, right? And
Sure.
selling those deals to people.
Yeah.
So you find a property, you put an offer on it, basically on condition that you've got capital to purchase that property on. Even if you don't have the money, that condition protects you because
Sure.
at the end of the day, you have to get financing for it.
Yeah.
Now, that same deal you can sell to an investor like myself or TJ that's looking for good deals.
Yeah.
You don't need a lot to source for properties like that. There's lots of them, right? And
100%.
you're starting without having the money to do so.
Yeah, I mean that's
So it's not
exactly
always
how I
about
started
the
off
money.
the game, right? I mean that's how I
Sorry?
started off, you know. I had
Yeah.
nothing, and I looked for opportunities, and at first I used to sell them out, and then I realized, no, hold on. There's lots of them. I can now dictate what I want out of them, you know. Right, so let's move into the next segment of ours where this is much fun, and I hope you're prepared on this one. We only give you a second to answer this question, right? And we're just going to shoot around about 5 to 10 questions, and you don't have to think about them because we just want to know you better. Right, on any chill day, Witness, where can one find you?
At home, playing with my kids.
All right. What's your favorite business book?
Good to Great by
Good to
Jim
Great.
Collins.
Okay. What advice would you give your younger self?
My younger self, don't listen to what others are saying if they're negative.
Do you have a favorite quote?
An opportunity of a lifetime must be seized in the lifetime of that opportunity.
Boom. What does success look like to you?
Independence.
If you had to become any business person, who would you be?
Strive Masiwa.
And what social causes do you advocate for, if you have any that you advocate for?
Social causes. There aren't any that I can say out of my head right now.
Yeah.
But I would say schooling. You know, if we could get kids educated, and teach them financial literacy, I think that would help the Black community specifically.
Okay. I'm sure you've watched the movie Ocean 11.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Good.
No, not Ocean's 8. A long time ago. I haven't watched those Ocean's 11 yet.
Okay, great. The idea of that is that they've got a big job to do, like you are wanting to do. You've got this job to do to grow your business. And if you are to bring anyone in your team, with certain specialties, skills, money, and all of those things, who in today's life, in South Africa, across the world, who would you want to be in your team?
Okay, number one, Donald Trump, not as a president, but as a property developer.
All right.
Yeah, I would definitely love to have Robert Kiyosaki in the team as well. I like his thinking.
Right.
Strive Masiwa, definitely. Aliko Dangote, definitely.
Yeah.
So these are guys on a strategic level, right?
Sure.
And yeah, so
all said and done, Witness. Now you are on your 90th birthday. We have taken this old journey. Who would you want to spend time with
on that day?
Yeah.
My wife. Sure. No, definitely my wife.
That's it.
I'd really love to do that.
It's been awesome having you around, Witness. I have learned quite a bit from us just engaging. There you are, ladies and gentlemen. This is Witness Mdaka. And Witness, he has just poured out to us from township in Tembisa, going through into other areas, managing a big portfolio like what it is now. He's young, he's married, he's killing it in his own right. I did tell you, we only bring successful friends on here, but I think the journey for him, it's still bigger. I wish you all the good luck. I wish you tenacity, wisdom, and I know that you're going to do it. So there's nothing holding you back if you've come this far. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. We hope that you have enjoyed it. We will catch you out on the next episode of M5 Successful Friends. Any last words from you, Witness?
Yeah, thank you for having me, TJ. And the last thing that I would say is that let's keep on working harder, not necessarily physically, but mentally. Let's think of solutions, especially for our communities. Thank you so much for having me.
Boom, that's it. We'll see you on the next one. God bless. Cheers. Goodbye.